I'm gonna be Wilson again. It's like, Heidi ho, neighborino. Make this one with a pair of underwear I have. And then there's a Hello Kitty poking her head out of one of them. It's super silly and super adorable at the same time.
Oh, the cat has taken over my spot. Oh, hey, Gabby. Yeah. Hi, honey.
Hey there, everybody. I hope y'all are ready for another fun night. There we go. I hope everyone is doing fantastic. I gotta turn this down a little bit for my ears. I'm always having to turn down. But good evening. Happy Wednesday, hump day. I hope you guys are doing fantastic. I've got my cup of coffee. I didn't add anything in it tonight. I was very good. My voice, you've noticed, is coming back, which is fantastic. I'm very happy about that. Yes, the BGM is a little high tonight. The BGM? I don't know what you're talking about, Oshemi. I know Oshemi's a little distracted. He's doing some programming homework. You know, he's over 40, but, you know, he still has his homework and stuff. The background music. Ah, okay. I got you. There we go. Is that a little bit better? Is that a little bit better? Alright, good. Alright. Hi, guys. It is Wednesday. You guys know that we are typically not going to be doing Wednesday streams for the year. I'm kind of taking that night for myself. With everything else going on in my universe, I don't get many nights to myself. So we're taking Wednesdays, but tonight is special. Tonight we have a special guest. Her name is Susan Bunce. You guys probably remember she is from last H&H Americas in Chicago in June. She was a special guest then, and we talked to her. And she'll be returning tonight because she is taking part in the Sprout Quilt Challenge. She is a fantastic quilt designer, seamstress, all the good things. We're going to be talking about her block, which is English paper piecing. So you guys know that I'm totally up for that. That is like my shebang. So we'll be talking about that and just kind of hanging out. I've got everything basted and ready to go to do some hand sewing while we're talking, because you know me, I got to keep my hands busy. I also have a new little thing that I'm going to show, and of course there's something on my back screen over there. That's the one thing about having like 4 different monitors. There we go. 4 different monitors, and so I always have to check like which monitor's doing what. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get right into it. I do want to start the night with just touching base a little bit on, we are sponsored by HelloFresh. I'm a HelloFresh partner for the entire month. So if you are interested in getting a HelloFresh box for, I think it's 65%, which isn't bad. And then you also not only get the 65% off your first box, and then I think it's like 20% off of like 4 boxes after. But then you get a breakfast item, a free breakfast item for the free breakfast for the life of your subscription, something like that. You know how they big business stuff. But that being said, I am a big fan of HelloFresh. I'm busy. I've got kids. I am constantly in the sewing room doing all my things. So being able to not have to go out in the snow and go grocery shopping and stuff is like a big deal for me. So yeah, I like HelloFresh. It makes my life easy, and my kids like it. That's kind of important. I've got a 3-year-old and an 11-year-old, and they are picky AF. Yeah, it's wonderful food and easy enough to cook that even you can do it. I mean, you're not a bad cook. You're not a bad cook, Oshami. You're actually a pretty good cook. It's just a matter of, like, you gotta read the instructions, right? That's the big deal. So anyway, so hit the link or use my code at checkout to get your, discount. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and we'll go straight on into it. And we'll say hi. Hi to Susan. How are you, my dear?
Good. Hi, how are you?
Good. What are you sipping on? I see you out of the corner of my eye sipping something. You got something yummy tonight?
Just orange juice and ginger ale. No spike to this today.
No spike to that? TJ says TJ is here. Hi, TJ. So, Susan, welcome back to the stream. It's so lovely to have you. The last time you were here was at H&H Americas, and you sat down with us, and you were wearing your beautiful blouse. I was going to call it a t-shirt, but it's not a t-shirt. Your blouse that you had handmade and designed, and with the, I believe you came with the one that's English paper piecing, or was that foundation paper piecing?
That was the foundation paper piecing one, if I remember correctly.
Okay, the ones that look like little diamonds, right?
Yeah, well, they both kind of did. The one that was around the neck, that was the one that was up here, right?
Yeah, I think so. It was like right across.
Yep. Foundation paper piece.
It's so pretty. And Purple Peony Poppy says hi too. She says she's here. That's Lori. So it's good to see our friends in the chat tonight. Whether you're chatting or you're lurking, we're more than happy to have you here. If you guys have any questions for Susan as we're going along, please feel free to put them in the chat. I will do my best not to run over our guests with talking, and read your questions and get to those. So the first question I'm going to ask you, and you're going to get mad at me for it, is your blouse pattern out yet?
No.
Damn it.
It is not.
I am like biting at the bit for that pattern. You know that.
I do.
How's production coming on it? I'm hoping, because you're coming to H&H this year too, yeah?
Correct. So, hopefully it'll be done by then.
Right?
That's a good goal. Yeah, it's halfway done on paper. It's got to be done in the computer now. So
right, because I know we had talked privately about it at one point, and writing a pattern for clothing and for like sewing a garment is much more rigorous than a quilt pattern, because you actually send it out for like a type of certification, right? How does that work?
It wasn't a certification. Where I sent it was actually a place that does the grading, which grading changes the sizes.
Okay.
So like I tell it how much bigger I want it for each size and like how many sizes up I want it to go and how many sizes down it
Okay.
goes. And yes, I could do that on my own, but they can do it in like 2 seconds and it would take me a lot longer. So I let them do that.
I got
So
you.
I have all the files back, but it's not set up. It's not pretty.
Oh, I got you. Maybe that's what the confusion was because the wording is grading. And to
Right.
me, a grading is like ABC, okay, you've got a passing grade, you're sort of whatever.
Right.
So it's like,
Don't ask
oh,
me. Yeah, I don't know why they call
yeah, so
that, but they
weird.
do. So yeah.
Okay, so it's all graded. Does it go up to fluffy sizes?
I think I did up to 2X.
No.
But but hey, my sizes are bigger because I don't like to say I wear a big size, so I size everything the opposite way, if that makes sense. So I could say that I wear a medium, but there's no way I wear a real medium. So the sizes are off.
But in a good way, right? Not the way where you go shopping and you say, "Oh, look, it's my size," and really it's two sizes too small. If
No, and
anything,
my
it's going to
size
be
is not
more roomy,
two
right?
sizes too big. Yeah.
Okay. All right, good to
Okay, maybe
know.
not, but yeah.
Good to know. So anybody who is 2X, 3X, you should be able to, in theory, be able to wear the blossoms that Susan designs. So we'll keep taking a hot poker, and by H&H, which is in May, which isn't that far away, we should be getting that pattern. I'm really excited.
Okay, you're holding me to it.
I am. I'm keeping you accountable because every time you wear that shirt, you turn heads. You guys don't even know. Like, she'll walk down the aisle during the conventions because she wore it. You wore them at Market too. People were
Right.
doing double takes. Okay, it's like that hot mama walking down the corner of the street and the guy stopping the cat call, right? You got quilters and you got like stopping and going, "Oh, baby, that is a nice shirt. Where can I sew that shirt?" Like, come on now.
You're too funny.
I'm just honest. Like, it really
I'll take
show-stopping
your
shirt.
viewpoint because from my viewpoint, I think they were stalking me like, what in the heck?
You say that, but like, okay, guys, you guys know how much I love Tula Pink and how much I love Free Spirit Fabrics and all that, but they weren't exactly the friendliest as far as like the business side of things to me and my brand, right? But Susan comes along, and where I got like 8 people kind of I'll just say it, cop blocking the booth, right? And keeping me from even getting in. Susan's sitting there looking through all the booklets of all the fantastic material like it's just another day at the office. Like,
Yeah, it took me 3 tries to get to the table. Let's just be honest. It
okay,
took me 3
listen.
tries to get there, but I got there because
You
I'm
got there.
pushing.
You're pushing in the best way, though. You got there and you got what you needed, and that was the important part. Hey, it's Joe! Hey, Joe! Yeah, I'm gonna keep you accountable, and that pattern has to be out come H&H. I will kick you. No, I will pull you kicking and screaming. That's what I want to say.
So let's see. I've got 3.5 months.
That's more
Okay.
than enough time when you've already got everything pretty much done for it.
Yep, I
You
agree.
have samples, you have testers, you have all the things you need.
I'm good.
You
I'm
are. You really are. Like, you could have that pattern written and launched like next week if you really wanted to. Like,
If I had no other life, yes.
if you had no other life, and that's the one thing, right? Is like all of us pretty much have day jobs or families or whatever that we can't just sit at the computer. Well, I wish I could say sit at the sewing machine, but there's so much more computer work than anything.
That is 100% true.
Yeah. Oh boy, howdy. Well, I'll stop nagging you about your shirt because, like, I love that shirt. But yeah, damn those day jobs. I'm with you, Joe. Let's talk about your new block, Castle Garden, for the Sprout Quilt Challenge. I'm so excited for this because you know how much and guys, I'm gonna put the link for Sprout in the chat. So if you want to sign up, if you haven't and you're on the fence, we're in the middle of week 2. you can click on that link, go, you can opt in. You're automatically going to get all the emails catching you up for week 1 blocks and this week's blocks. We've got filler blocks and all sorts of things out. I actually have to add the filler to the chain. But that's besides the point. You guys can catch up, and we've got some wonderful prizes this week. You can check out the Instagram. All the good stuff's in the email. So click the link and go for it. Your Hexies, yes. Susan's Hexies are amazing. And I want to ask, okay? First of all, I know you love EPP as much as I do. You even wrote a special blog for me about striped EEP, and I love that article. What inspired you to, A, pick EPP for your block for the Sprout Quilt Challenge, and B, why did you call it Castle Garden? Like, I saw the name, and I always love digging into why people name things. Like, Amanda, she names things from her patterns from lyrics and songs that she likes. And you really don't think about it until you, like, really look at it. So, like, what is your inspiration? I gotta know.
Okay, well, I'm going to start with the name because this is Allison Glass fabric.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was at market, she was talking about her inspiration and like where she got all her art for this. And it was at some, I want to say museum, something where light was coming through, like cathedral type stuff.
Ooh.
And then she had all the flowers from the gardens and different things like that. Well, I haven't traveled a whole lot, but I've been to Ireland.
Right.
In Ireland, they have all the fancy gardens in front of the castles,
Yeah.
and I don't know what to really call them, so that's why it's Castle Garden, because I couldn't come up with a better name. But,
I
you know, like the
love that.
main gardens and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So it kind of tied with the castle, with her artwork, and then just the whole, it's a planned garden. You know, like everything has its spots. With English paper piecing, everything has its spot. So it just
It
seemed
really does. Well, and you know, you can kind of even tie it even further because you know you have the country the castle gardens, but then also a lot of that is like English country gardens is like the controlled chaos, and I've always loved English gardens because it is controlled chaos where you're just throwing things and letting them grow. And you know, Allison's material, this line at least, can feel a little chaotic in a good way, though.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah.
A lot of her stuff does, but I mean that's what kind of makes it fun and makes it different from other people's. So that's why I
That's true.
like
Well,
it.
and her color palette really kind of stands out from a lot of people's. It's bright, but like in a jewel tone kind of way, I think.
It's a tad muted. It's like because I'm a Tula fan too, so I have the Tula colors and I have Allison's colors, and Allison's seem to be a little bit more muted,
Yeah.
a little bit more brown or gray is what I want to say. I may not be using the right words. And Tula's, she calls them true colors because I think they're just very, very vibrant colors.
Her colors anymore have kind of, and I know they kind of go back and forth, but the last couple lines she's done have been very neon.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? That's kind of, well, especially the one where she did with the gray. I'm not sure if you were a big fan of that line, but like that was probably my least favorite line I've ever seen. Because I'm not a big, like, gray person in that respect. And, like, it was a little much for me. Which is really weird for me to say, because I don't know. It felt a little much for me.
Yeah, well, kind of me too. I'd been hearing about it, so I was excited about it, and that's what I did. So one or two of my shirts is made out of that line, and then my tote bag is made out of that line.
Right.
And, you know, I ended up using more of the prints and less of the neon, but I used the neon stripes for like handles and for piping and for different accent things. Cause yeah,
it's not bad in little doses. Right? Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, you also asked about the inspiration about why I wanted to do EPP.
Yes.
And honestly, this is because I'm teaching a class at Quilt 2024, and it was tying in with this kind of thing. So that started today. So a shameless plug for that whole thing.
No, please plug away.
It's free to register for it, but I have a VIP link if you would like it. I will be happy to send it to Sandrasa and she can send it on.
Yeah, send it in the Discord and I'll post it in because I know we touched a little bit about Quilt 24. I've been hearing a lot on the back end about how that all works and how you guys are getting paid, and it's all affiliate based, right? Like people need to click on your link, and if they buy the VIP pass, then you get paid in theory.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, regardless, it's still kind of fun to do, and it's been fun to teach people different things.
Right.
But part of my class is Illustrator based, and
Okay.
sorry, I'm just in that. There we go. It's Illustrator based stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
it's how to get swatches into Illustrator. But that led me into making shapes and then loading the swatches onto shapes. So then I was like, well, why don't I just make the English paper piecing shape? So I just started
Since you're doing
building.
it anyway. All right,
Yeah,
guys.
well,
Here's
that
the
was kind of for
link.
fun. I just had to start building and just kept going. So
Yeah, and I've been seeing a lot about it because you and I were talking about. Excuse me. We were talking about Quilt 2024. What was it, before Christmas, like in November? She reached
was
out
that
to you.
market? Yeah.
Yeah, and we were like really unsure. We'd never heard of this person before, and you're like, I don't know, this is a spam. And now everybody's doing it. Like everybody and their aunt are teaching at Quilt 24. So I'm glad to hear that you and Joe were able to get in and kind of feel around and see how it all
Yeah.
goes.
There's over 6,000 people registered for it, so it's a big
Holy.
deal. Yeah, it's a lot. I know Joe and I decided we're not going to pay attention to all this stuff because we're getting nervous that we're not good enough. You know, that imposter syndrome hits you in the heart. So we're not looking, and we're just going to go with we did our best.
I think you guys are freaking fantastic. You guys,
Yeah.
there are some really big names doing this. You guys are awesome for putting your, like, on top of doing Sprout and on top of everything else you guys do. Like, holy crap, guys. Like,
It'll be good. It's all good.
you only got in because of Susan? Really? So you put Joe's name in there, huh?
Yep. Told Joe to contact her and find out all about it. So
Yeah, I still don't really know much about her. She keeps showing up at these business Zoom meetings that I'm a part of, and she keeps I don't want to say spamming because that's not the right way, but she's very a very loud advocate for her Quilt 24. And so it was just like, okay, what is going on? This is something. This is something. So I'd be very interested. I'm sure it'll happen next year since there's been such a big response. And I kind of heard through the grapevine. I'm being nosy now, and maybe you can tell me a little bit about this. That one of the Sprout patterns got posted in the Quilt 24 Facebook group.
oh, I think Joe can probably tell you more about that than I can. But yes, I think one got in there because they thought they were they were posting in Sprout or the Quilt Designer Collective thing, and they ended up pressing or posting in that because we keep advertising both, so they're getting confused. It's our fault. We're sorry.
It's not
Sort
our
of.
fault. It's not our fault.
And we're not really all that sorry. We're just happy
No,
that
we're
y'all.
not all that sorry. I was pretty tickled pink when I heard and saw the
It was your blog,
screenshots.
so that's what makes
Yeah,
it awesome.
it was my block. I was trying not to say that it was my block because I'm not trying to be
I
that
got to
person.
say it.
Yeah. I was tinkle pink. I'm just been really, I don't know how you feel about seeing everybody 6,000 free views. Don't be sorry. Well, you're right, Purple. That is true. That's probably maybe why we've got over like 400 people signed up for Sprout, man. That's good
Hey,
numbers for us. I don't care about
that
that
is great
6,000,
numbers.
man. I think we're doing pretty freaking good for our crew.
Me too. Me
Yeah.
too.
But how does it feel seeing people working on your block and seeing all the notifications of people downloading it and everything?
Oh, pretty awesome. Yeah, my phone. I wear an Apple Watch, and this thing was dinging all day yesterday. My boss kept looking at me. I'm like, it's nothing. It's nothing. And in my head, I'm going, it's everything. Yay!
Oh, that's so good. That's great. It's such a good feeling. It is. And just seeing the ding dings. And it went out, I think, in the email Monday, or maybe it was on the email today. But we've had a lot of people who didn't make it into that sign up block between the 17th and the 30th or 31st and missed out on Bart. And so we've had so many, yeah, and we've had so many people asking about Bart. Like, okay, where do I get this? What is this? What's going on? I want this. Where can I? And it, like, people just kept asking, and I'm like, okay, I guess if you, like, I threw it up on the website. It's a buck. It's a buck, and
It's
but I
like the
keep
bug.
getting dings, ding, ding, ding. I'm like,
Yep.
Okay.
It's worth the buck. Get it, guys. Get it. It's so cute.
It is cute, and I put out the filler block this week, and it's all Bart themed. It's not the same size as Bart, so you're not gonna feel like, oh, I just spent $1 on a block where I could get it. So Bart is his unique little self, and then the filler blocks. I don't know if you had a chance to look. They get to fat chunky Bart. Where is he?
He's grown up a little, huh?
Yeah, he's fattened himself up. That's for sure. Where's my boy? My boy. There we go. We got a chunky Bart.
Nice.
He's a big ol'.
He's so cute.
Bart is the Sprout mascot. I guess so. I guess so. Maybe next year we'll have to make a in Bart We Trust shirt or something for Sprout. Right?
That'd be a great plan. I'd wear it.
I'd wear it too. That would be so fun. Cause I think we'll do this again next year, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of work, but it's been really worth it. And are you coming to the Zoom call tomorrow night?
I am. I'll be there to answer questions because
Yeah.
I know people will probably have questions.
Yeah, and Joe's been so fantastic hosting those for Thursday and Saturday, and I'm sure you've seen the map. We've got people like all over the place. It is so flippin' fantastic. It's so exciting. And just hearing everybody's stories about how long they've been quilting and what got them into quilting and all that kind of stuff. It's so nice to like build a community around that. You know what I mean?
Being able to talk to other quilters is awesome.
Yes. And I know that it's been kind of talked about a little bit in the business circle, but how the demographic of our customer, right, is like around the age of 62 female, right? And they're lonely. So many people are lonely. Like,
I was going to say, I don't think you have to be 62 to be lonely. I think that can range. Even if you have kids, you don't necessarily have other adults you talk to during the day. So this is a great community for that.
I agree with you. I agree full-heartedly. I kind of went off on a tangent with TJ on Monday about the whole our quilter community is too old for new technology, and I was just going off on a tangent. Like, don't tell me that the generation that, started with computers and taught us how to do no, you get it. Yeah, just give them time.
But even think about the Zoom. Were you on the Zoom on Saturday?
No, I was sick.
No, you were sick.
Yeah.
There was a lady there that obviously hadn't done Zoom very much before her, and her husband helped her set it up, and she sat through the whole thing. Like, I was all proud of her for doing it because it looked like it wasn't something that was normal for her, but she did it, and she joined the community, and she was there. So
yeah, well, and I think that's so important to if our communities are lonely and feeling that, then we need to do more than just be a picture or a face on a social media platform, right? We need to be doing more to build this community back up to the kind of levels of community feeling that we had in our grandparents' age, right? Where you had sewing bees and quilting bees. And like, one of my mom's favorite memories when she was a kid was going over to her grandmother's house in the deep south, and it was just this little wooden shack, and all the ladies from the neighborhood would come over and they'd bring a frame down from the ceiling that had a quilt, and they'd all sit around it and they'd sew and they'd quilt it together. Like,
that would actually be pretty cool.
Right? Yeah, I can't imagine. Could you imagine our level of technology, like a long arm machine suspended from a ceiling, and you just push a button and it just comes out of the ceiling? Like,
have to get somebody that's good with that machine, or else we're gonna have to just, I don't know.
Well, and get some steel beams in the ceiling, man. Those things are heavy. Like, that's gonna break the damn ceiling. Don't give you ideas. I'm giving you ideas on purpose, okay? Because I need the floor space. Oshemi's really, ever since H&H and seeing that Anova machine, he is so smitten. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. He's been talking to Stitch about how many quilts he would have to do a week to quit his day job.
Oh, well, there you go.
When I say that he's serious about long arm quilting, he's actually pretty serious.
Well, that would be really cool. Okay, so what was the answer? About how many quilts would you have to do a week?
He would have to do 10 queen size quilts, edge to edge, a week to be able to quit his day job.
Well, that's doable, especially if you're really good at it. So if you
Yeah.
can practice it and get really good at it, that's doable.
Well, and for me, I mean, I'm totally not selfish or anything, but I am. I would definitely be down for that because then I could quilt my own quilts and not have to stress about deadlines. Because you know me, I'm always like so procrastinating last minute, and it's never like pedal dance. I had like 3 people in our group say, "Yeah, I'll quilt it, ship it to me," and I'm like, there is not enough time to even get it to you before I leave from market.
That's true, but hey, it got there and it worked, so that's all that matters.
I mean, I had to quilt it myself, and it did work, and I did make it. Yeah, that is it. It's all good.
It was good.
Yeah,
It was pretty.
I think
What?
so. It's still
Oh,
hanging on my
it is.
wall. I haven't banished it to a box or anything, so I must still like it.
There you go.
So I'm gonna be nosy. You guys know I'm nosy. What are you working on right now? Like, what's on your sewing table, kind of thing?
Me or the crowd?
You.
Me?
Yes.
Actually, a full size, a 52, I think it's 52 or 50 or 52-inch Castle Garden throw.
Really?
Oh,
Oh, so you're turning
yeah.
it into a. Oh my God! I need pictures. I wanna see. I need.
Well, I have them, but yeah, not handy.
You'll have to send me pictures later and let me see, cause I gotta get a sneak peek, cause you know I'm gonna. I will want to start it. I will start it. I will work on it, and then it'll go in my UFO bin.
Actually, you want the clothing pattern, but this one's closer to being done. It's
Ooh.
loading up. Give me
Okay.
just a
Ooh,
second.
I get sneak peeks, guys. I'm not showing you guys. You will have to wait until Susan launches it, and then you can buy the pattern.
Well, it is based off the blocks that I have in the Sprout, so it's taking those and
just making it bigger.
a version of that. Yeah.
Hola, George. I think I'm saying your name right. I hope you're having a great night. Welcome to the stream. I'm being called a senora. I'm sad. I'm like senora level. I'm no senorita anymore. We've actually, my daughter and Ash and I are doing Duolingo. I don't know if you've done Duolingo before, but it's a learning language app, and we're learning Spanish together. Because Bug has a friend who it's his first year. He's 5th grade like her, but it's his first year in the U.S. from Mexico. And so there's a big language barrier because English isn't his first language. And so, yeah, she wants to learn it so she can communicate. Because they draw Yoshis together, and they're just like so nerdy together.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, you have the picture.
Ooh. Oh, Susan. Oh, it's so pretty.
Well, good.
Oh my goodness. You guys are gonna go bonkers for this.
Well, glad you like it. That's why I said I'm excited about it, and
Do
it's
you need
mostly
any
written.
testers? Oh,
Sure.
it's so pretty.
It's in work. Like it's close to being done. I should be done with it by next weekend. So, I mean, not this coming up weekend, but the next weekend. So yeah, you can test it for me. I'm game.
Yeah, I'm down for it. I got Tipsy Tea I still gotta finish. And I got a commission quilt I still gotta finish. But I really like this is really pretty. What's the finished size?
I don't remember exactly. I want to say 52 by 52 or
52.
somewhere in that
So
50-ish range.
it's a good size like couch throw. And Joe
Yeah.
is pronounced Ho. Yeah, because J is an H. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. Oh, but I'm sorry, chat, that you can't see this, and we'll, as soon as Susan gets it out, I will do an announcement in the Discord, the Quilty Crew Discord, and then we can all go from there. I love how, because you guys can see, I've been working on Joe's block, and you can
Susan?
see how my pieces are, but you actually fussy cutted them closer, so you get like this kind of spiral look.
Yeah.
I didn't fussy cut mine quite close enough, and honestly, I only had a fat quarter that I was working with. Yes,
see,
and that's a different way too. That's different than
Yeah,
what you
this
have
one's a
in the
little
pattern
different.
too.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of, well, it depends on what fabric I have left. After you fussy
That's
cut
true.
something, you've got to work with what's left. So
Well, and
this is the
that's
second iteration, and
well, when I was writing the pattern for the filler blocks, I kind of had a panic attack, honestly, because when I was laying out the background white, like you need over a fat quarter worth of white to make it. And I'm like, "Oh no. Oh no,
we
what
have
if
enough
there's not
left.
enough white? What if there's not enough background fabric? What if I just screwed everybody's quill because they need so like I made sure to put like big stars of like make sure you're using scraps from your other blocks so you have enough material. I know we have a
Yeah,
lot of people in the community who are using from their own stash and, doing scrappy quilts, and we have a lot of upcyclers too who like find and kind of do it that way. So, yeah.
yeah. I'm hoping most of these people actually kind of wait until they have all the block patterns and get the main patterns cut, and then use what's left for filler blocks. And I'm sure there's going to be enough. It's just to make sure you have enough for the actual block before you cut all the
Mhm.
fillers.
Well, and
But
that's my concern. Yeah. And there was one person today who commented that they're going to start theirs this weekend. And I'm thinking, "Oh, I
well, are they using Allison glass, or are they using their own stash? Because
I don't
you
remember.
never know.
I don't remember. I mean, either way, I mean, they can always get more fabric, I guess. I just would feel bad if like my filler block because for the most part everybody's doing some scrappy fillers. So, a scrap here, scrap there, it's not a big deal to do like half square triangles or something. But, and I probably could have done that too where I could have just done like the white and the cream as half square triangles and just kind of been a little chaotic random. But
Well, I think if I remember correctly, we do have quite a bit of leftover of one of the other solids,
mhm.
if I'm not mistaken, because we have the three colors, I think. There's that pink, the kind of white, and the bluish one. And
Yeah, it's
it
like a
seems like one of them,
lavendery. Yeah.
yeah, seems like one of them has some more leftover space, and it's light enough you could use it too.
Yeah. Well, and I think you can really substitute any of them for that. So I'm not gonna worry about it. Um, I've put my notations and it'll be fine. I do want to ask though because on Monday we had I believe it was Tanya who asked about sewing the English paper piecing, but without hand sewing. And I know you kind of had a teaser reel um, that kind of talked about it a little bit. And from what I saw of the reel, I only saw one. I don't know if you posted any more, but it had a roller and you rolled to press, but it didn't actually show you sewing it. So,
Yeah.
how
Tips and
did
tricks coming soon. But I'll tell you guys because, yeah, my sewing, my clothing aspect of it, I think I was driving home today from work actually thinking, how can you can zigzag them. Yeah, but okay, what if you don't have a machine that does a zigzag? You just have a straight stitch machine. So I was
right,
thinking, okay, well, how are we going to do that? Well, you could press them and try to sew the seams, but you'd have all these Y seams, which Megan hasn't taught us yet. So we're going to get to that. But
right?
I was like, how else can we do this? So I figured out a way, and it actually worked brilliantly. So
Okay.
what you saw me do, I'm going to kind of show one that's glued already. This one's,
So
oh,
you
which way am
glue
I going?
basted? No, no, you're perfect. You're perfect.
This one's glue basted, but what I did was put a piece of paper inside of it and then just press over it, and then I used that roller to press the seam in, so I wasn't using heat every time. And
Do you
I
use
only
heat
did that.
for your glue basting?
No, this piece is glue basted, but for the pieces that I have here, they are
Oh,
not.
okay. All
There is
right,
no
because you're not
paper
leaving
actually.
paper in. Okay.
Right, there's no paper in here. So what I did when I cut this out is I actually used water soluble. I don't know, I can't find the
No, no, I
camera.
can see. I
Can you
can
see
see.
the marks
Yeah, there
on
you
there?
go. We're in good focus.
Okay, and you see the marks that are on there?
Yeah,
So I actually drew on the front side of the fabric.
yeah.
So you've got to find a pin, make sure that you can test it, make sure that it comes out. But what I did was I folded over one of the edges of the piece,
Yep.
and then I left the hexagon
Flat out.
totally
Okay.
flat, right? So then you just stick this right on top of there, and I just did a really, really close edge stitch. And then, so any side that you're sewing is folded under, like
Yeah,
this one
so it
went on
kind
top
of
of this
like
one.
sits like this. Like this is your
Right on there.
hexagon, and then this is your
Right.
diamond that's folded on the edge. And you do
Right.
that, and then you're running along the tip. Just
Right.
okay.
So I attached this one to this one. So the only seam I folded under on the diamond was this seam right here.
Right.
And then when I did this diamond, because now it's on top of this one and this one, I folded in both of those side
It's
seams. But
kind
now
of trying to
you
figure
should
out
be
the
able to just
puzzle.
keep building out
Yeah.
by leaving a flat seam and a folded seam.
Right.
But that way I had my mat right by the sewing machine, and I was just rolling those seams as I was figuring out how they were going to sew in.
Yeah.
And truthfully, I mean, you can see my marks on here because of what I did, but really,
Well, and those will iron out, right? Because you're probably
yeah.
using a friction pin, right?
No, this one's actually water soluble
Oh,
Crayola marker.
okay. I gotcha.
The kids' Crayola is
That is
super
so
washable marker.
smart. I was wondering how you were gonna figure that out, because I know I've seen Adele, who's one of our designers for the Quilt Designers Collective. She does zigzag for the English paper piecing because she wants to get it done quickly.
Yeah.
And
I did that. I did a sample with that. And personally, I'm not a fan of the zigzag just because it shows more. I mean, it doesn't matter because if you do a lot of the applique stuff, I mean, it's on there anyway. But just to attach the pieces together, I'm not a total fan of just the zigzag. So this eliminates that and actually has an overlap.
Well, and it's not as apparent. I know there's a streamer on here. Her name is Hexadoodle, and her niche is
I like the name.
Yeah,
Hexadoodle.
she's in the UK, and she's had some health issues, so she hasn't streamed in I think a year and a half. But she focuses her niche is English paper piecing, and she's always cranking out. I think the last pattern I did of hers was a block of the month, and she did 2 versions, and it was like, how are you doing it so quick? Well, she does the zigzag, but you would never tell because she uses the smallest you can do, and then she uses the monofilament.
There you
so
go.
It completely hides it, and you don't even notice it.
See, maybe if I try that sort of stuff, I'd like the zigzag. Okay, I haven't used monofilament, so I can't speak to that.
Yeah, I confessed on Monday, but I don't know if you've done the new Milla Flore new hexagon, from Kaja. I think that's how you say her name. She's actually retiring. I was really surprised. But anyway, she did this big Milla Flore, and it was like the first English paper piecing project I ever did. And I thought I was so smart because, I was really broke, but I had some nice tulas and nice fabric and all that. And I was just kind of doing a scrappy kind of thing. And I'm like, all right, well, I don't want to change my thread every time and try and match and all that. So I thought I was so big-brained and used monofilament.
Yeah, how'd that go?
It's still together.
Good.
I haven't touched it in a while. I'm at that point where the rosettes need to all go together to make the big quilt. And yeah. And when I found out later that monofilament rips fabric, it was like, oh, it was probably not the best idea to sew with it then.
Well, so how does the zigzagging work? That makes me curious now how the zigzagging works with it.
I had never heard of it, honestly, until Quilt Market, where at the same time Adele and another streamer on here, Quilt Tony, they both at around the same time told me, oh, well, why don't you just do zigzag? Because I was complaining about how long Tipsy Tea has been taking me, and how if I'm gonna launch it, how am I whatever. They're like, why don't you just top stitch, zigzag it? And I was like, how in the hell does that work? And apparently it's one of those things where you have the 2 pieces and they're basted together, and you just kind of butt them up, and then you just run it under the machine, and it just zigzags and catches it. And you just keep doing that, and you just keep adding, and you zigzag and just go. And then for me it's like, well, I guess because you're zigzagging through the paper, it's kind of perforating the paper. So you got to be really careful when you take it out, but it comes out.
Yeah.
So.
That was what I was worried about the zigzag too. Either you got to make it super close like you would do in foundation paper piecing,
Mm-hmm.
or then I was thinking all these things I was thinking about on my way home. I'm telling you, because otherwise I was thinking, well, what if I use a heavier copy paper? But maybe if you used a lighter weight copy paper
Yeah.
instead of cardstock, maybe you could fold around that and it'd be easier to take out.
Well, what
So
I
I
had
think,
thought about was using hugs and kisses. Because I
yeah,
know not only do people use it for turn under applique, but I know people who put it through the printer for English paper piecing and they do it that way. So then they don't have to take the basting out. Like they
yeah,
just iron it on, glue it on, and go. So that would probably work really nicely because then you don't have to worry about ripping the papers out.
yeah. That's a little tempting. I think I might have to try that one of these days.
Yeah, my whole thing is I mean that might be something where I can do for if I want to test your quilt and be really quick about it. The only problem for me though is how expensive Hugs and Kisses is, because it's like $20 for 20 sheets of 8.5 by 11.
Oh wow! And then we had to print how many? Like 10 sheets just for these blocks?
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be a lot.
it would be a lot, and it's love you, honey. Mwah. Um,
You could probably make it tighter. Do you have a Cricut? I don't have a
no,
Cricut, but
I don't
people
have a
that have
Cricut.
Cricut machines can put the shapes right by each other with no
That's
space in
true.
between and cut it out so they're not wasting anything. Whereas, yeah, my templates are wasting space in between to give people room to cut.
Well, and even then, like, because your diamonds were kind of really close to the edge on one side, my diamonds kind of didn't print like 3 points on one side. There was
And
enough
that,
paper that I could continue the cut and get just enough for the point, but it was like, yeah, because I have that same issue with managing everything for Tipsy Tea, and like the list of having to print, because for that one you're using thirds and you need like 657. It's a lot.
that's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Um, so I can see why the appeal of going with paper pieces .com and ordering it from there. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a bit expensive, but then I don't have to sit and cut all day, right?
Right, right. I'm highly considering making a kit of paper pieces just specifically for this quilt. So
You
you
should.
just have what you need. And then you could buy those when you buy the pattern. You know,
You
you don't
should
have to
reach
buy them,
out
but
to
you could buy them.
paperpieces.com because they'll do that with you. They'll work with you on that. I know I worked with them. I can order kits for, they don't sell it for me on their website. I have to order wholesale. And for me, it's a lot of pieces, but for wholesale it's $40 for the bag. So then I'd have to retail it like around 80.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have wholesale through them too, so I do the same thing. I was just right
Well,
now
no,
trying to be
I don't have wholesale through them. I just reached out to them as a designer if they
uh,
would make a kit packet for me. That way, I could just do it that way.
yeah, well surely hopefully they're selling that to you at a wholesale
They
cost.
are that $40 is the wholesale cost. It's
Okay.
still a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as
Yeah.
much as I love that, I don't know. I'd have to probably do a survey to see if my customer base would be even interested in that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because people love doing kits with fabric. But if there's no fabric involved, you know, because I know Pink Door Fabrics does that all the time, where they've got like the whole kit, where they have the papers and the fabric. But they're a brick
Right.
and mortar shop that works with that, right?
Yeah. And probably more room to cut fabric than we have.
Just a little bit. I don't think cutting bolts on my little cutting table behind me is gonna go all that kosher. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That just a thought, just thinking about it. Maybe like a beginner EPP kit with sew tights and with, I don't know if you
Yeah.
saw
I
my
got.
cutest ever little scissors.
Oh my
Are they?
god, those adorable. They would go perfectly with the tiniest little cutting mat.
Yes. And
Yes.
Adele wanted to know what we could cut on that, and I'm like, I know exactly what I'm cutting on that.
I told her it was the perfect cutting mat for Bart. He could break dance on it.
True. Well, and actually, in my giveaway, which I think is this week,
Yeah.
the prize for this week, I actually am including just for the heck of it some little 1/4 inch hexagons, just so people can see the difference. So I don't totally expect people to use them, but you just kind of have to see them just to see
You
what a
do,
1/4 inch
because people
hexagon
don't
looks like.
understand. And like when I tell them that I made a quilt with 1/4 inch hexies, they look at me like I'm batshit crazy.
You are. I mean, you are.
I am. I actually, the rainbow tin behind me, there, that one. That one has 16th inch.
Oh my gosh. Like,
Yeah,
how's that even possible?
I'll go get it. I actually, hold on.
I just
So,
noticed with my black shirt and my black chair, I kind of look like just a talking head here.
all you need is your lights off, and then you'd be a floating head. It'd be funny. So, these, I don't know if they ever actually went to market, but went, or like consumer market, what I mean. But when I was in market at 2016, I had shown paperpieces.com, they had a booth. I'd shown them my, I called it Rainbow Connection because it was like a rainbow. If you guys watch the stream, you've seen it because it's on the intro video. But that's all made with 1/4 inch hexes, and I showed them that. And they gave me a baggie of the 16th
Oh
inch.
gosh.
Yeah, 16th inch.
I
And
just don't
like,
even know like how you do steam allowance on that.
so I have a whole tin of like little scrap solids, and you can kind of see you can't really do scrap allowances, and I didn't, my fingers definitely aren't as dexterous as they used to be. So like the thought of doing these now is like almost impossible. I kind of have to like duck my head out so it'll focus maybe. Oh, come
A
on.
little bit, yeah.
Yeah. But you can kind of see how I base it through it, and then that's it.
Yeah,
It focused for just a second, but how it's all kind of folded. And I tried really hard to kind of cut so you could just see just an itty little bit of the paper through it, right? Yeah, no, the solids, they're Kona solids. They're a little thicker. Somebody suggested to me using Liberty of London fabric because
the
it's
Tana,
thinner. Yeah.
the Tana one, yeah.
Yeah. So if I ever come back, because I have an art quilt planned for these little guys, if I ever get around to it, like a miniature quilt that I think would be really nice. And yeah, so they're just, it's like little confetti. It really, literally, it's smaller than my damn nail. Like,
Uh-huh.
it's nuts. It's
That's
freaking nuts.
crazy.
So yeah, they go. I don't know if they ever went to like public market, but I'm a little bit of an English paper, and like I didn't even have a baggie. They're all just kind of floating in there in my little box. Like,
Yep.
I was not a very organized quilter. So that leads me to a question. How long have you been English paper piecing?
Just since 2020.
So you're a new English paper piecing.
Yeah, you dove into a hard quilt. I kind of dove into what people say is a hard quilt. I don't think it was, but my first one was the Tula Pink Tula Nova.
Ah, yeah, I've got one of those. I just have to applicate it to the background, and it's done.
Yeah, that was my first one. I finished the whole thing, and it was one of those things that when I saw somebody doing English paper piecing, well, I didn't know what it was. Like, I actually thought they were just quilting that, and I'm like, how in the heck are they getting these designs?
Right.
And then I saw somebody explain it, and I was like, light bulb, I have got to try that.
Right?
Like,
No
I've got
Y
to try
seams,
that.
and you get these complicated geometric. Yeah, no, sign me
Yeah.
up. And then the fussy cutting, like
Yeah.
I'm all for that, man. I used De La Luna for my Tulanova.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I bet you that looks pretty. I actually used Allison Glass.
What did you?
I
It
did.
comes full circle. It comes full circle.
That's what I thought. It was kind of funny, so I'm doing it again. Yeah.
Chat, if you've got questions for Susan, make sure you're typing them out for me. I know I was ignoring you. I'm sorry. I will be better about that. So tights. What do you think of them?
They are my best friend.
Are you using the normal ones or are you using the lighter ones?
I think the heavyweight one. It's the teal one.
The
that's
normal
got-
one? Because I think the yellow one's like the lighter one. But like I've got the little skulls. I love the little skulls. They're my favorite.
Yeah.
Camera doesn't want to focus. But it's so strong. Like,
Twist
guys,
it. Twist it
well,
off.
I know I gotta pull it. I gotta do that. But like for me, if I'm just sitting here doing my English paper piecing, like it is more time and effort for me to try and get these off than it is for me to hold it. I need to reach out and I need to get the lighter ones.
Yeah, these, what I like, well, what I do with it, and once again, we're going to get into the camera focusing thing,
Yeah,
but I offset it all the
that's
time
smart.
because
But
then
yours
when I go to
is, yeah.
put it on my piece, put that on my piece, I just pull that off and then
I guess
stick
you
it
could
on the
try it like
back.
that.
So, yeah,
Because these are rare earth magnets, right? Oh my god, it's so strong.
I don't know what they are. I just know they work and I like them.
I love them, and I think if I remember correctly, they do branding. So if it was something that I was interested in having in my shop, I could come up with my own, like, little narwhal.
That'd be cute. I think Libs Elliot has some too. Has some. Of course, they're way bigger names than me, but still, it'd be worth asking. I would
Well,
bet they
they
do.
at market they handed me they had a flyer.
Ah,
So
cool.
you can do it. You could definitely do it if that was something you were interested in, right?
Yep.
Putting it out into the world.
Which I might have to be because I do live by those things. I love them.
Yeah. I definitely I think I might have to I'm really excited. I don't know if you've seen So Tights. Are they a sponsor this week as well?
No,
I know we've got LDH Scissors,
and
yours, and who's the other one this week?
Allison Glass.
Allison,
The thread.
the Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, So Tights will is sponsored 2 different weeks, so we will have them. So us talking about these now is on point. But I might have to reach out. Did you see their cutting mats when we were
I
at
have
market?
one.
You have one. How do you like it?
I not as much as I wanted to, if I have to be honest.
Yeah.
I love the mat. The part of putting the magnets onto the ruler just seems like a whole lot of work. I'd rather just have a magnetic handle
Yeah.
instead of having to hook. But I mean, I understand they're embedding magnets in the ruler.
Yeah.
And then you have a little magnet that you put on top of that to hold it down. And yes, it works great and it holds a lot. But and part of it's just retraining my brain. I'm so used to having the thing that looks like an old phone on my ruler that I can't get out of that. That's just fast. It's just fast.
Well, to be fair, it's like, I mean, you I don't know how long you've been quilting in general, but I know my mom did a lot of seamstress. Like, she made our clothes and she made some play quilts and stuff. And my grandmother was a big seamstress back when she was around. And when the rotary cutter came around in the 90s, that was a huge change. Because all the patterns didn't have rotary cutters. You were cutting things by scissors. And so, like, that was a huge, like, industry changer. So, for me anyway, it feels like, oh yeah, I've come into this hobby, and rotary cutters, yeah, it makes sense. It's been around forever. And it hasn't. It hasn't been around forever.
Well, I'm going to put a plug out that I have an idea for them. So, okay, So Tights, listen up, because what I want you to do is create a rotating mat with pieces that we can use with our English paper piecing. So our template with a magnet with a rotating mat. Then you have my business, a lot of it.
Yeah, well, because like that's the thing is trying to fussy cut, and you're always like, oh well, I can't do the rotary cutter. I gotta.
Right. So what I don't know is how that would work. Would they have to embed a magnet in every template I have, or could they make a magnet strong enough to go through the templates that we use? So I'm sure there's a whole nother reason they haven't done that yet, but I'm still putting the shout out. Or
maybe somebody hasn't pitched it to them yet.
Yeah, well, that's going to happen this week because I've been thinking
you gotta get on that. You gotta get on that. Yeah.
If they would just make this.
Right. Well, and for me, like, I saw their magnet ruler system at market, and I was really tempted to pick one up, but because I love the gray and teal, like, so on brand for me, right? And they're not inexpensive, right?
No.
But then she was telling me that they have in the works a large, like the 32, 36 inch one, like the 24 by, is it 32 or 36, whatever a yard is. Nice. They have that in the work to work with their system and everything. And I'm like, okay, well, how is that going to work? Because, she was talking about how it's a self-contained system and they don't sell them by pieces and everything. I'm like, well, how does that work if I buy your ruler and magnet today and I want to upgrade to the other ruler? Do I have to buy a whole new system? Because, like,
Good
that's
question.
a lot. Like, I,
I'm
I
sure
would just
they'll
want to
think,
buy the
I'm
mat.
pretty sure they'll think that through by the time it gets there and maybe
I'm
offer it.
sure.
You can buy a kit either way or buy just a board.
I'm sure. It's more inventory, but I hope that they figure it out. Because I would be all over that like a fat girl likes cake. So,
Yeah. Yep, I got mine at H&H. I ordered it when we were at H&H.
so you're
It was a
smart.
pre-order. Yeah,
I
and then
got you.
came in. So, but yeah, the mat. I love the mat. The mat's better than any other mat I have.
How
So
is the
that part,
healing on it? Because I know, like,
that's the part that is really good.
okay.
Like I don't know why I was just leery. It's new, so new company, whatever. Not a new company, but a new product for the company, and
Right.
so trying all that stuff, and the mat is phenomenal. I love it, and it's obviously got metal in it, so it's heavy. I like that because it doesn't slide all over my table.
Right.
All of those things are wonderful. It's just I've got to get used to putting the magnets on the ruler and going.
Yeah, taking that extra step. And that would be so nice for me because for me, my ruler is always sliding. Even though,
Yeah,
like, I know how to put my hand on it and put the pressure, and, like, even I used to do the shower handle that you
yeah,
get. Yeah, no. I would still slide a little bit. So, they're on my radar.
yeah. They need to kind of put some. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Never mind. I'm going to keep my mouth shut on that. I'm going to hit them with that rotating mat, though.
Yes, hit them with that rotating mat and go for that. Excuse me. Goodness gracious gravy. I gotta get rid of this cough, Susan. I've been having
Yeah.
hot toddies at least twice a day for the last like 2 weeks, and I'm getting a little tired of whiskey. uh,
Well, yeah, you need to get better. You've been coughing a lot, so
I
and I know
have,
that
and at
can't
least my
feel good for your
voice,
chest.
I've lost the sexy voice, as everyone was calling it. So I'm pretty happy about that. Um, but tell me, because this probably isn't like as big of a controversy as maybe my brain wants it to be, but
I'm
I
sure
am.
it is.
Mhm.
If you're going where I think you're going, it's a huge controversy. Where are you going?
Where do you think I'm going? I'm
I
curious
think you
now.
probably think you're probably going to basting.
I am going to basting.
Yeah, see, I knew it. It was all over your face. And yes, it's a huge controversy, and
And
that's fine. Everybody has their thing. I don't have quilt police.
well,
So,
I'm not cool police. I am generally curious, like what everybody's like love for glue basting is, because to me it's just like such a pain in the fucking ass.
I don't know. I just like it. So, and honestly, I've never tried thread basting, so
Right.
I really am not a good judge. I mean, I'm not
Right.
fair. I learned to English paper piece from one of Tula's videos, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what she said. You know, what she said is is like Bible to me. I went with it, and that's what I did. So that's what I learned on,
Yeah.
and I just need to try one of these other things. But if you're doing it on machine, you don't have to baste at all. So there you
That's
go.
true.
Problem solved.
That's true. Well, and you know, I've tried quite a few different basting techniques because everyone kind of has their own thing,
Right?
and I mentioned it on Instagram and kind of brought it up because I asked the question, how do you baste? Like, do you glue baste? Do you thread baste? What do you do? And so many people answered glue, and I asked them, I'm like, okay, do you get residue? Like, does your paper rip and peel and like you don't? I had a couple people say that they have had that issue, but it depends on the weave of the fabric. The tighter the weave, the less likely the paper is going to stick on it. I
I would say it also has to do with how much glue you put on there.
Well, and that's why I say even like just gluing on your hexagon or whatever, use the cheapest ass glue you can get. Don't use the big purple sticks or whatever. You don't need heavy duty glue.
No.
Um
I think the purple, well, I mean, I don't know what the stick you had, but the purple one that they were talking about was washable, so it would wash out when you finally launder your quilt was the
yeah, but
point
then if
behind
you
that.
did that and you launder it and yeah, it takes the glue out, but if you already have paper residue and you weren't able to get it off, then you've got paper stuck in your quilt.
No, mine are clean, but I also use Oh, the tool that is it the orange stick that you use to push back your cuticles?
Oh yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah. I
a
know what you're
wooden
talking
little
about.
stick. I got one of those, but I don't use a ton of glue, so that helps because mine's already kind of loose. But I mean, I get that, and I just run it under the edge of the fabric all the way around, and then use the end to pop out the paper. And I
That's
even use my
smart.
paper
Well, I know some
constantly
people
when you.
use a hole puncher, the hole punch, so that
Yeah,
their hexagon is, and they'll take a crochet
yeah.
hook, and that's how they pop it out. Which I might have to start doing because like lately it's been harder to get the papers out. But
So you thread baste and you sew through the paper. So do
I do.
you have to take out all your basting then?
I do. I used to at one point, and I have the project somewhere around here. I had a couple of projects where I don't know. Have you ever seen the loop de loop basting? So
Mm-mm.
that's where instead of because like normally I'm going through and you can see the threads, right?
Right?
So instead, when you're holding and you're going around, you're never going through the paper. You're just
Yeah.
going through one piece into here, looping it back and going through again. So it does like a loop de loop, and then going to the next one and loop de looping, and then next one loop, and then you stop where you just like a regular thread basting. I liked that a lot because I didn't have to take the basting threads out. The problem became whenever you got any sort of diamonds or triangles or any other shape that wasn't a hexagon that had a sharp point. Because trying to loop de loop around the folds just it
It's
didn't
hard.
make it tight enough, right? And then the other issue became um I found that you had to leave more fabric around, right? Because normally you want to leave about a fat quarter inch, right, of fabric. In theory, like we all cheat sometimes, right? To get the
Right.
last little bit. Um, but I found that you'd have to leave even more, like almost a half an inch of fabric, because as time went on and you're folding and you're sewing, it would wear this hexagon out and it would pop out of the corner. And then if I hadn't finished sewing around it, I then had to tuck it in, and like I spent more time fussing trying to get the paper back in to stay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so like it was great for small quick projects, but anything that was a travel project or something that was going to take longer than a month, I I had to
Wasn't worth
go
it.
back to thread. I mean, regular 1 inch hexagons, because, lately I've been using a lot of bigger pieces, right? Because I kind of like people using more and more bigger prints. So, like, I need a bigger hexagon to capture the fussy cutting, right? So if I use a regular hexagon, it it'll be fine as long as I leave a good fat fold. You know what I mean? But
Right.
like for me, glue basting, all I've had is like nightmares with it, and it goes through glue so fast for me, and it's so silly because like when I do the turn under applique, I pretty much glue based like you would English paper piecing. But the thing is, when I do that, I'm not pulling anything back out. I'm using something like Hugs and Kisses with material that stays in. So I don't have to worry about how much I'm using or if it's going to leave residue or anything. Because I did I don't know if you've ever done one of those swaps. Like, it was an Instagram one, and it was really nice to it was really early when I started quilting. But it was a rainbow hexagon swap, and there was like 30 people in it. And so I made my hexagons, and they were regular thread based or whatever, and I sent them out, and I got all these hexagon bags, and it was really cool. Got a really lot of cool fabrics and stuff, but like 70% of them were glue basted, and they were a nightmare to like. Some of them I couldn't even sew with, like, because they had pulled it so tight that there was no fabric. Like I was
Right.
literally sewing through their papers. And then when I
Yep.
would get it done, I would take their papers out, and it would just leave big residue on the inside, on the folds, and it was just like,
Well, I'll have to send you some I glue basted because you wouldn't have that problem. But
see, but you've been
but
doing it a lot longer, so you know what to do.
yeah,
Like,
well, maybe I don't know. I figured out what works for me. I think that's
right.
kind of the thing with quilting, no matter what you do, you need to find out what works for you and how you do things, I mean, how
Yeah.
you handle your paper. And if you're rough on it, like you were saying with your basting, then you're going to pop out corners. Everybody just needs to know. But I say when I glue baste, that you just barely smooth the fabric over the edge. Don't shove it over the edge. And I did have to learn that because on my Tula Nova quilt, I was doing some of that when I take out the paper, you could see, I wasn't sewing through the paper, but you could see where my needle hit the edge like all the time.
And you
And
perforated,
now
yeah.
I pull my papers out and they're clean, like nothing. So
Well, and that's a good feeling right there.
yeah, and you want it to be easy, and it's faster, like you said, because the Tula Nova I struggled because I was too tight, and everything was, it was hard. It was very hard to get it through, and now I know just slightly over and leave it a little. I don't want to say loose because it's not loose. I'm going to stick with snug. It's snug but
It's
not
snug,
tight.
yeah.
Snug but not tight, and then it's just you can run your needle through pretty fast, and it's Now I've gotten down where I can go through it pretty quickly.
Do you starch and iron?
I did not on my first quilt, and I decided to try it on another, not what I'm working on right now, but another one, and it actually worked out pretty well. So I mean, I'll probably try that again. In fact,
so
the
in
one I'm
general,
working on
I
now.
was meaning with your English paper piecing. Do you?
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, the Tula Nova, I did not do that
I
because
gotcha.
she's like, yeah, you don't need to do this, and so I tried it. But then I see Pride and Joy. I know she does FPP and not EPP, but I thought, you know what? If she's doing that and it makes that easier, would it make this easier?
Right.
And so I did a light
light starching.
On this one, and I think it kind of helps a little. I
find it
don't
gets
know.
my points and my edges sharper. Like
Yeah.
after I baste it, because like I'm a starcher, so I'll starch. I'm not a pre-washer, that's for sure. But so I'll starch and iron, and then I'll do all the cutting and basting and everything. And when I'm not feeling lazy, I will take it and do another light starch and iron. Sometimes just an iron, just to get the crease and those corners sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it really helps.
I don't ever iron in between. So after I glue baste, I go straight to sewing.
Well, that was
the
my
only
thing.
time
Is
I iron
like
after that is at the end.
I was worried that with glue basting, if you used a hot iron, that you might mess with the glue.
No, I've done it just on pieces, just not necessarily for a quilt, but like just over there trying things, and it doesn't do anything to it.
Okay.
But I'm using the Sue Daly glue, not Elmer, so I don't know.
Isn't that I think that's what this is, right?
Yeah.
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 This one's sew line. These things are so freaking expensive, and they go so fast. It's like, forget it. I miss the precision. That's I think why I like it.
Paper Pieces actually has a tip now that you can put on a regular glue stick.
Is it English Paper Pieces, or somebody had linked me another Instagram person that has something that just goes on a regular glue stick that makes it almost looks like a marker tip that goes on and funnels it in.
They print it on a 3D printer.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's the same people because they've like trademarked this now. But the glue fits into the tip, and then the cap that goes on the glue actually fits on the end of their piece, so that you can close it up and it won't dry out without having to take it out, because
that's so smart.
A glue gun. It was very smart. Like, you're pushing all the glue into the tip, so you don't want to waste it all by taking the glue stick out.
Exactly.
So you just put the cap on the other end and leave it, and you're good to go. So I actually have one. I need to try it, but I don't actually have any glue sticks here that are that size.
Yeah, I'll go to somewhere like Staples and just buy their generic in just the big box.
Yeah.
And it'll last me a while.
That'll work.
Yeah.
I would assume most of that glue comes out and it's water soluble anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it says for the most part. Washable school glue, right?
Well, there you go. If it's school glue, it's got to be washable.
Yeah, exactly.
You're good.
Excuse me. Goodness gracious gravy. So, Susan, do you have any questions? Since it's your second time on the stream now.
Yeah. Well, shoot, I hadn't thought of any. None that I can think of. Unless anybody else has questions. I guess that's my question. Does anybody else have a question?
We've got a quiet chat tonight. We've got a quiet chat tonight, which is okay. Wednesday's usually my slower days out of the week, because, you know, it's hump day and people are like, oh, I gotta go to work tomorrow. I don't want to do this.
Right.
I saw that you're starting to post videos on your YouTube channel now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're transitioning from the clothing and the pattern making into the quilting videos, so we're getting
Yeah.
there. So there are, yeah, there are 3 videos for English paper piecing because some of us didn't put all the information in the first video that they were supposed to. So now there's 3 parts, not 2, but hey.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
bad. Did you open the email this morning? I spelt her wrong.
Oh,
Like, I know that's like a reoccurring thing in our group is the typos. Like, we're all
Yep.
just so tired right now. Purple Peony Poppy asks, what is your favorite size of hexie and why?
You know, okay, this is kind of crazy, but I'm working on a quilt with another English paper piecing quilt for Juicy Juices fabrics.
Yeah.
So I actually have a 4-inch hexagon. It's too hard to handle. So that right off, I mean, it's cool because it's big and I'm like working on this pattern that has a bunch of different things. But that one it's almost too big. It's too
Mhm.
too much to sew. The 2-inch to me is probably the biggest size I want to go, and I kind of like the 1-inch too. But like you say, it just depends. For
Yeah.
this project, I stuck with the 2-inch because if people are new to this, it's an easier size to hang on to and not too small where everybody's feeling like they have to pinch it together if they don't
Well,
have a sew tight or something like that.
and the print just works with it, right? You
Yeah.
have those big print sections that just work perfectly with the 2-inch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fit in there good. So
I think 2 inch is my favorite right now, just because of the projects I'm working on. Like, it goes together a lot faster, right?
yeah.
Like, I have a commission quilt that I'm dragging my feet on because I'm a terrible person. I think I'm going on year 3 of it, but it's all 2-inch hexagons, and it's all in Japanese blue material.
Oh, I bet that's pretty.
It is. It's really pretty. It's a lot though. It's a
Yeah.
lot, and like you know, I've had some hand issues over the last year or so, and so like trying to get to it has just been. I need to. I'll probably pull it out tomorrow. After I gotta finish your block first before I move on to any other projects. Um, but
Hopefully it's going pretty fast.
what?
I said hopefully the block's going pretty
I
fast.
think it's going pretty fast given how much time I've had. Because I think I spent like maybe an hour basting, and then maybe another hour on what I have so far.
That's
So,
good.
yeah, I think week 2 is the perfect time for your block to come out because of the hand sewing element, and then TJ's is like 5 blocks.
Right.
They look intimidating. She assures me it's easy. I have not done them yet, but she assures me that I should be fine.
I'm
But
sure if you follow her directions, it'll be easy enough. It's just like
yeah,
anything.
I have
All
it
these
here.
projects are learning new things. Well, most of us are learning new things. So once you give it a shot, 1 or 2, I think after that it'll be just a breeze, and you'll be like, why did I think this was hard?
Right. Well, I think most of the techniques that we're touching on are things that I'm not confident in. I like Adele's. I'm not gonna spoil what hers is, but I've never done one of those blocks before. So that'll be interesting to see how I can handle that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll handle it like a champ.
I'll procrastinate and then it'll become a UFO. I can feel it already.
Oh, I don't think she'll let you make it a UFO, so I think that's not going to happen.
That's probably true. That's probably true. We're really good at kicking each other's butts on things and making sure we're kind of keeping up on stuff. So here's my next question, I guess, because I'm projecting, I suppose, because I keep talking about how many UFOs I have. Do you have any UFOs? And if you do, how many? And if you do, which one is your favorite UFO that you're kicking yourself you haven't finished yet?
Well, the Juicy Juice one that I was just talking about, I have that one. And I have one that's with Tula fabrics, and both of them are English paper piecing things.
Mm,
The Tula one is the one that I'm probably kicking myself for because I was creating a layout. So the English, like, it's a vest. It's a vest pattern.
ooh,
And I was making the blocks like where I was being very specific about where I was putting certain things.
yeah,
And I started it when she did the Alice in Wonderland line. What was it
yeah.
called?
It's Curiouser.
Curiouser and Curiouser or something like that.
Yeah.
I started it. It's out of those fabrics, so I started it then. So yeah, kind of kicking myself for that one because I'd like to be wearing it right now.
It would be so pretty, especially with your black shirt. You have to finish it. You'll have to finish it for H and
Yeah,
H, cause
and
like
it's actually
quilty
so close.
clothing is like I don't know who I saw an Instagram post, and it was like some big company, and they were talking about the quilting trends for the year, and quilty clothing is like the big trend for the year, and I'm like, you were doing it first, like you need, and it's not just like upcycling quilts. You're making original quilty clothing, like
That's what's fun to me. I guess because I like both things, so I like to create both of them and not just one of them.
yeah. Well, and it gives another way to showcase, right?
Yeah,
Because we can only have so many bed quilts. We can only have so many wall hangings. We can only have, and so then have the idea of having clothes and showing off our skill and our favorite
right,
fabric or whatever, like that's
right.
really appealing.
Well, and when you live down in the South, like people in Canada, y'all can wear that quilted clothing a lot. Down here, when it's 110, that's the last thing I'm gonna wear. So,
Right.
so
So
I have
something
my
that's just a
my two
sewy
months out of the
quilty
year.
cloth. Yeah.
Yeah. But,
So when again did you say you were gonna have your pattern coming out, Susan?
for the shirt, we're gonna be specific about which one we're talking about.
All of
The
it. All of it. All at
garden,
once.
the Castle Garden one that should be out soon, very soon, and then the shirt, yes, by end of April because I have to have it for H&H. It's a law.
Yeah, yeah. You have to have it because you had like two shirts that were kind of like variations of themselves, right?
Same pattern. Yep.
So it's one pattern. It's not two
Mhm,
patterns, right? You're just
mhm.
showing two
Right.
different variations.
Right. Well, within that one pattern, I actually have like different layouts, so ways that you can adjust it and make changes without having to have a whole nother pattern because
Which is
that's crazy.
nice.
Yeah, we like to create too much. Who wants to buy a new pattern for everything you want to do? So we make it
Mm-hmm.
adjustable, and I'll show you how to do that.
Yeah, and I mean that's something you could workshop and make into a workshop of this is all the different ways you can make this pattern and change it and make it new. Purple Poppy says, "What do you mean? It's minus 40 degrees Celsius with the wind chill."
Yeah. I'd be dead. I'm telling you, I'd be dead if I lived up there.
Ma'am, we're gonna get negative on the weekend. I think we're supposed to get to -2 on Fahrenheit for us
Uh,
on Saturday. So
let's
I'm not excited for that.
supposed to get down to like 19 Fahrenheit for
That's
us. So
still
that,
pretty cold though.
yeah, yep. Well, I'm gonna scoot for just one second
Yeah, of
because
course.
I have the heater on. Speaking of being hot, and I'm
Oh,
hot.
that equals 40 minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So the only time Fahrenheit and Celsius are the same. Holy fucking shit. Purple Peony Poppy, we are like going to go on a rescue mission and bring you the fuck out of that frozen tundra. Oh my god.
Yeah, when she was telling us that the other day, between my temperature and what her low temperature was going to be was a 90-degree difference. 90 degrees. Like that just blows my mind.
She says yes, please. All right, we've got it. We've got a mission. We got a quilty mission. Yeah. I cannot imagine living in that cold of weather. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm cold thinking about it. I'm gonna need more coffee at this rate. Holy crap. So, I'm gonna ask you another question. What would be your number one quilty tip? It can be English paper piecing or not, but what is your number one quilty tip that you would share with our audience tonight?
I'm going to say don't be afraid. And don't be afraid of other people. Because when I started learning English paper piecing, I started getting in all these groups and these different things. And shoot, if you listen to some of those comments, you'd be afraid to try anything. So I
Mm-hmm.
want to say, don't be afraid to try. I mean, so what they think? If you like it, it's great. If you didn't do it perfect, most people probably won't even know if you don't tell them. So just to try things, and if you like it, it's great. It's perfect. So yeah, I guess I just want to say chill more to some people and enjoy your quilt to the other people. So,
Right? Don't be perfect, get it done. Right?
right,
Yeah.
right,
Because there's satisfaction in it being done. Is it your best work in the world? Maybe not. But it's done. And that's something
right.
to be happy and proud about.
And somebody's loving it. If it's still in the drawer, like we all have those UFOs. If they're still in the drawer, nobody's loving them, and probably not even us at that
Right?
point.
Like, I am so. I. Okay. I might get yelled at by some of the Tula troops, and that's okay. But I am over being precious with my fabric. Right? I want to use it.
Yeah,
Like I have out of print Parisville and Prince Charming and all these other things, and I'm using them because I want to.
right.
Right?
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Like I I'm done being and kits too. I can't tell you how many damn kits I have sitting around here that I don't have time for it, and I think that's one of my backup resolutions, if I can achieve all the other ones that I've already set for myself, is to make the quilts that I have kits that they're not kits like they came as a kit, but like I've bought fabric for specific patterns for my kids, and I just haven't made them because I don't have time. And so then
Right.
my kids don't have any quilts that I've made. They have quilts their grandma's made them, but like, what is my problem here? Like, I need to kick my butt and do these because like there's only a small window of time that they're gonna like enjoy these quilts and actually
That's-
like, yeah.
So I guess my next tip would be don't be afraid to say no.
Oh my god, that's like
So
my
I mean,
biggest
well,
resolution.
for your thing for your kids, I mean that's your own thing. But sometimes people ask me, like somebody asked me just yesterday, "Oh, can you do me a t-shirt quilt?" Can I? Yes. Will I?
No.
No. I will not. I've got too many other things to do
I've
right
had
now.
so many
So
people ask me that. That's like the number one thing they ask is, can you make a t-shirt quilt? I'm like,
well, and it's a memorial t-shirt quilt, which I hate because if you mess it up, they're
then
already
you
sad and they're
mhm.
sadder, and I don't want to be involved.
Yeah, you don't need that bucket. I have a specific person I know that whenever somebody asks me that, I say, "No, but this person can and you're more than welcome to reach out and
Yeah.
because like I feel like when people ask you, like people who know you, they think they're going to get a good deal and that they don't
Yeah.
have to pay you or pay you as much."
There's that too. So, I say no, nope, or say I'm worth this much. So if you want to pay this much, or my answer is still
I won't
no,
even say that because I've had people say, "Yeah, sure."
and then not
And
do
then
it.
I get stuck with a project. And at the time, like I have two quilts that are commissioned. One is a more of a charity project because the person who asked me, she can't use her hands and it's an English paper piecing that her mom did
Oh,
before she
well,
passed away.
well,
And
that's
then
an
I have
honor.
one that's paid, right? So I'm working on the paid one first and then I gotta finish the other one. But like at the time I was excited to do them, but as time it just you lose momentum, and
Right.
that's why I moved away from commission quilts and went into pattern design, because then I can actually work on my own projects and my own designs and my own like, because nobody wanted, I mean maybe at some point they would have, but nobody wanted my work. They wanted to tell me what exactly they wanted.
Yeah, which is always, that's hard because you never can really read their minds, and
Mm-mm.
they're not always the best at describing what they want. So
No.
it makes
And then it's a whole back and forth thing.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, besides writing the clothing patterns and this quilt pattern, which it is beautiful, I'm really excited for. Um, it is so pretty. I really am excited for it. I just keep I keep looking at it. I'm like drooling over here. What's next for you? Like you're doing Sprout, you're doing Quilt 24, and you've got these patterns for H&H. What's next for you?
Well, March should be the start of a class on how to do design in Illustrator.
Are
So
you hosting through somewhere, or are you doing this on your own?
on my own. So Yeah, the class that's happening this Saturday with the Quilt 2024
Mm-hmm.
is basically leading into a whole course on how to. I want to say, I don't want to say quilt patterns because it's not necessarily going to be how to write all the stuff out, but how to create all your designs and how to put things together and make sure they're the right size and that kind of stuff. And then that'll probably transition into how to do clothing patterns as well. That's a different audience most of the time,
Yeah.
but I'm blending it in my own clothing, so I'm trying to blend it both places. So I'll probably offer two separate classes, and if they want both, then they can have discount on the whole thing or something.
Right.
So
Well, that's definitely something as you're building your community. Hopefully, you bridge that gap, right?
well, that's a hard bridge. It's a hard bridge actually because they're kind of like two different sewers, and they don't necessarily cross over a lot, which is
No.
interesting. But they just don't.
Well, and that's kind of a funny thing. It's kind of like taking the traditional quilting community and you're seeing more and more of like brick and mortar shops and just quilting businesses in general reaching out to cosplayers, which is a hugely different community
Right.
in and of itself.
Right.
Much younger, much more innovative and looking for different things. But somehow they're bridging that gap, you know what I mean? So I mean there's got to be a common ground that I'm sure you'll
Yeah.
find.
Yeah. We'll get there.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I'm excited about it. Anyhow, we're starting, regardless of how many people sign up. We're gonna do this and get it going.
I mean, look at you. I mean, we didn't think we'd get nearly half as many people as we've got for Sprout, and it surprises me every day, and it just warms my heart, to be honest with you. Just
I
seeing
know.
like all of our hard work and seeing a community that
Well,
really is enjoying what we're doing.
and like you said, seeing all of their hard work and all the things they're doing is what makes it fun,
I don't think it'll ever get old seeing somebody else's version of my quilt.
right?
Like that is the best feeling in the world.
It is. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are your plans for H&H? Let's circle back to that cuz I know quite a few of us are planning on going and this will be your second year. It's H&H's third year. Are you on the board like TJ or are you okay?
No, leaving that to her. I
Yeah.
figured I had enough other things going on this year.
That's one thing I
I
said no to.
Yeah, I actually don't have plans for H&H this year. Like not last year I went with very specific, I'm going to go to these fabric places, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Right now I don't have those plans. So I mean I think I need to get through my class is big high on my list.
Mhm.
Now a shirt is all pattern is high on my list. No, it has been. Just there's a lot of things. I feel like last year was a whole bunch of working towards things
Yeah.
and this year implementing all those things. And so I don't know that pushing anymore at H&H is going to be high on my to-do list.
I feel like
Attending
it's
yes and like hitting certain things and maybe, reminding that
networking.
I'm here and networking and stuff like that, but not with a really specific goal right now. That
Right.
doesn't mean I won't have one closer to time.
I mean that makes sense. Yeah. I kudos to you for getting your class and doing that cuz that's one of those things and your videos too. Like it's easy for me to stream and sit here and just kind of chill, right? But it's a whole nother ballgame making a video and it's been on my to-do list for like 2 years. And it's just one of those projects that I just keep kicking down the road. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if I actually sat down and did it, I'd be able to do it. But
Well,
I need to kick myself because I don't know if I told you I was accepted into the Creative Spark program, and
no.
so yeah, so I got another thing to work on after I'm done with Sprout is getting videos and all that going for that.
Yeah, well, that's exciting. Can't wait to hear more about that. That's
Yeah.
cool. Well, one thing about the videos is for me, top down, I can talk to you all day long. Once that camera's facing me and I don't have somebody to talk to like you, I'm like, what was I going to say? What was I going to say? And I just, this time I finally got smart because I'm like, obvious I can't like memorize a whole paragraph because
Mhm.
obviously I just can't do that. And so I kept the camera running, had my thing over there, and I would say one sentence. I'd stop and smile and look at the camera and be still. And then I'd read my
For you
sentence
to
and then
cut.
yes, and I know you can see the cuts, but I don't care because I got it all set.
You did, and it's More power to you. I know. I was looking. I think I linked it in the Discord, but the Elgato projector.
Yes, yes. You made me drool over that. I don't think I'm quite there,
It's
but I
not in
think
my
I need
budget. It is so not in my budget. Nothing is
yeah.
in my budget. This year is one of those implement and like, let's actually get profitable because like,
Right, right.
yeah, the well
Me
only
too.
goes so deep.
Yeah. This is true. At least I have another job, but I don't mean I hate feeling like I go to that other job to pay for this job that should be
Right.
making me money. So, I did a lot of that last year. I did a lot of that last year. And this year I'm trying to just get it all going. So,
Yeah, because the goal is for it to be self-sustaining, right?
yeah. Yeah. So that pattern, actually, my Tranquil Buzz pattern
Yeah.
is almost done too. It's been edited, so we're good. That one should be, I would say, a month because I got to get past some of these other things first to make sure that we're there. But that one's done. The monogram
Now,
one's
are you
done.
going to print?
I've looked into it. Right now, I'm just going to put them on the website, and then we'll just see where that heads.
As
I
long as those
actually,
patterns get out there, I'll be happy. Like,
that's kind of how I feel right at this moment. They just need to be out in the world and quit being on my desk.
yeah,
So,
the kids are in their 20s and they're not paying rent. They need to get out there and do some hustle. Okay?
yeah, yeah. Shoot, how long have I been working on that one? That one, it's not an unfinished object, it's an unfinished project. It's a
It's an
UFP, not a
unfinished
UFO.
idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
an unfinished pattern. That's what it's been. It was a completed quilt with an unfinished pattern. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, thanks to quilt pattern writers, people, it's getting,
Yeah.
yeah, we're there.
How is it
So,
working with them? Because I've only had experience with one tech editor, and so
uh,
I've been curious to know kind of what your experience was with them.
I've used a couple. And these I like just because I got to meet them in Houston. So we
Yeah.
talked face to face, and we have a lot of the same feelings about a lot of the same things. And so we
Right.
just kind of gelled really fast. And it was easy to say, look, this is what I want. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. Run. you know,
Yeah.
but I'm also pretty laid back about those things. I'm not one of those super, super
Well,
picky
and you talked to them
nitpick
about
kind of.
ghostwriting, right? Did you actually go down that road, or are you doing the writing yourself?
Well, I had already done most of the writing,
Right.
but since I know more sewing words and less quilty words, as I call them, I needed somebody to quilt it
Translate.
up for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, just sew this. And they're like, you can't just say that. And I'm like, I just did. Like, what do you mean I can't say that? so, so yes, they've upped my game a bit, let's say.
yeah.
And, just helped with looking things over and all that kind of stuff. But they've been fantastic to work with.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I was
Yeah.
about to say fantabulous. Is that a word?
I, it should be.
It should be.
I think my other like we talk small business on the channel from time to time because I can't help but like have that kind of stuff bleed out. I'm very transparent on the channel. Um, you have had the pleasure to work with a virtual assistant, and that's something that I've been really seriously considering because like there is just not enough damn time in the day for me to get all the things done and sleep. Like,
Right.
how is your experience with that? Because I want to hear what you said, and then I'll share something I heard from I can I'm not gonna drop names, but a higher designer on the food chain than we are in her experiences.
Yeah. It was good. But if I do it again, I'm going to find somebody that speaks more like I do. Like their
Less
voice for
professional,
doing things. Yeah. Because even though I said I want this casual, I want this casual, I want whatever, it just came forth very
superficial maybe.
a lot of big words, a lot of this. I don't talk like that. So that's not necessarily me. So I would spend more time kind of interviewing them and seeing what kind of things they do for other people, and can you switch voices? You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
don't care if you're a professional for one person as long as you can switch to my voice for something else.
Have you ever made a branding kit?
Yeah, sorta. Do I like it? No, I'm working on that, but but I guess my point being is that I worked with her so few hours. I think I worked with her like maybe 6 hours total.
Right.
It's kind of hard to tell somebody your voice I mean, even if I had a brain to get, I don't know that I would have gotten across everything that I was trying to get across to her and what I wanted to work on. So there's a lot of responsibility still on you
Yeah.
to when you hire somebody to make sure that you're giving out all the information
Information.
they need and that you're super organized so they're not wasting their time, your paid time, organizing your mess to do their job.
Right.
So yeah, things that I thought I would just hand over when I started thinking about, oh well crap, I need to fix this because I don't want to pay hours to fix this when I can do that easy,
Yep.
but I don't want to write the newsletter or whatever it was that I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to write. So I had to make sure I had a lot of stuff done first. So I would say it did help. And the longer you work with somebody, the better off it would probably
Right.
be.
But it gets expensive.
Yeah, it is very expensive. And I thought I on it this I thought more would get done. And that probably isn't fair because if somebody told me to make a quilt, they would probably think the same thing about me because it takes longer to do something than what we expect.
Or even
So
what we tell them to, because there's always like
that,
unforeseen hiccups.
yeah. So expectations. I mean, you just have to manage expectations from the get-go
Yeah.
and know, okay, this is my budget, this is what I need. What can you do?
Right.
But other than that, yes, it was a great help because it was a time when I was like super busy with so many different things. And I had somebody working on my website. I had her working on words. I'm going to say words because she did a lot of the copyright
Right.
stuff. And then I had the copy, whatever it is.
No, the
And
copy.
then,
Yeah.
yeah, and then, stuff that I was actually having to sew and content and different things like that. And so
Right.
between all of that, it was just,
It
I
was a
felt like I
lot.
spent more time than I expected divvying out jobs,
And I
which,
I think that's the interesting because so Monday I do like a body doubling thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of that where you just kind of sit in a Zoom call and you're muted and everybody just kind of works. And it's like one of those things where you're more focused and more productive because somebody's like in the room with you. It's like kind of like being in an office atmosphere, right? You're more focused. And all of us are like quilterpreneurs and all that, and we're having to be our own bosses and managers by ourselves, and trying to stay focused is so hard for me. So it definitely helps. And it's been very interesting because people come and go. And somebody came in on Monday and she was talking about taxes or something and learning. Oh, we were talking about QuickBooks. And just like she's trying to find a new program or something. And she was saying, "Oh, well, why can't somebody just tell me what the easiest one is going to be instead of just listing all this stuff?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, the easiest way would probably be to pay somebody to do it, but then you're paying them." And she's like, "Well, it's not the easiest way because that and I didn't know this, and apparently she had hired a couple people and assistants and stuff, and like they didn't do anything." And then
nope,
she was like, "Okay, well, what am I paying you for? You've been billing me and you haven't been doing anything." And they're like, "Oh, well, you didn't tell me that what you wanted. You didn't tell me." And it basically came around to, yeah, you can hire people to do stuff, but then you have to shift from doing everything to managing everything and
right.
being the manager.
And that's exactly how it was. And if I'd approached that more like I do my day job, but it was this job, and this job has always been my own thing, so I could do whatever I want.
Right.
Go to your day job, I'm telling other people what to do. If I'd approached it the same way, it probably would have been a better thing.
Right. Well, and you
But
have that skill set. You're obviously a good manager because that's what you do in your day job,
in my
right?
real life, yeah,
No, this is it's a real job too.
yes,
Yeah. But no, it's not a real job. It's a real business. Right?
yeah,
I have to
there you
keep
go.
correcting myself because we're
That's
not
true,
creating jobs for ourselves. We're creating a business for us to run.
right?
Right? Yeah.
That's true. So I'm gonna still say in my real job then.
Your day job. Yeah.
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 What does Megan call it? It's the FDJ.
The fucking day job?
Uh-huh.
What is it with people not wanting to cuss? You're more than willing to welcome to cuss on my channel. I have no
You are
qualms.
good. I just don't do that.
I know Stitch doesn't either. One of these days, man. I mean, no, she doesn't. But yeah, so I know everyone thinks I'm a sailor. It's okay. I'm accepting of this fate.
Hey, you make me laugh. I just
Do
can't.
I?
It's just like, I don't know. I was raised that way. It just can't come out of my mouth.
Man, every time I say like fuck or something like that, in the back of my head, my mom's like, I can hear my mom. That's not ladylike. That's not ladylike. That's not how a lady talks. I'm like,
Oh, funny. Oh, who
logging
said
off for the
Emily?
night. Oh, night purple. It was nice having you. Thank you. Thank you for your
Man, it's
questions.
like 11:30 her time.
No, she's our time. It's
No.
Lori.
Oh,
I
okay.
know it confused TJ too because it's purple, and so you think Stitch and
All right.
purple.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
was thinking you were talking about. And I was like,
yeah,
oh, that's way fun.
yeah. But
Well,
she has an early job, and I know you do too. So we should probably. It's a little early. We're only 10 minutes shy of 2 hours, so I don't mind wrapping up a little early. But
yeah, we can keep going for a little bit longer. I can survive.
okay.
We made it this far. We'll hang out. Just
Yeah,
finish
just
this
a
up.
little bit longer. I'm happy with that, and then I can do more selly outy stuff for you and do all that kind of stuff. I like doing that. Let me copy this. There we go. That way I can do that in a minute. Oh, damn it. I gotta get rid of this cough, Susan. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
A humidifier. Have you tried that?
No, I probably should. It's really dry here in Colorado. That might be
And
a good idea.
humidifiers, even they like you feel like you've got all the crud, but they help. They help get the crud out. So
Yeah, and like the cough isn't in my chest anymore, which is good. And you know what's funny is like Oshemi for the last week has been telling me you should go to the doctor, you should go to the doctor, you should go to the doctor. And I looked at him like, yeah, I know I have like a lung thing or whatever this is because I've been sick since like right around Christmas time, right?
yeah,
But unlike like when I had COVID and stuff like that or like pneumonia and things, like I can breathe. I can breathe just fine. I have at no point during the sickness had any like respiratory issue, right?
well, that's good,
Yeah,
but
that's
still,
great. So
that's a
to
cough.
me, like I'm not sick. If I'm not having a hard time breathing and my stomach is fine and all that, then I'm not really sick. It's just like a throat thing, right? And I'm not running a fever. It's just a scratchy cough.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. It'll
Well, as
go
long as it doesn't
away.
hurt, it's just annoying, but to
It
you,
is
not to
annoying.
me. But yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's annoying to everybody for me to keep and dying off screen. You know what I mean?
Oh well. Hopefully you'll knock it out.
Yeah, it'll leave sooner or later. But yeah, I thank you for coming on to the stream and thank you for designing this block. I am such a sucker for English paper piecing and fussy cutting in general. Now, I am not as good of a, I'm lazy. That let's just admit that. I don't use the templates and I don't really do what I should because I don't know if you've seen, I'm sure you have. Some of those fussy cutters that like they'll take tulip pink because it's 3 colorways in the same line and they've fussy cutted it so it's all 3 colors but it looks like the solid fabric.
Yeah. Yeah. I have seen that. And yeah, she talks about how to do that, not English paper piecing, but like where you like she did it was the Curiouser and Curiouser where she took one of Alice, I want to say, and split her down the middle, and one half was one color and one half was the other color, and she
Yeah.
talked about how to do it. And it's actually not hard, but yeah, I mean, why? I don't know. I just
Right.
hadn't found the need to use that yet, but
Well, and I think the person that I was watching, they were doing the 100 days 100 blocks, and so all of those different little segments were different colors but it was like the one fabric. And I was just like,
wow.
it was intense. And it was just like, how much fabric did you go through? You had to have gone like through at least 3 to 4 times as much fabric
Right.
because you got to
Yeah,
have the spacing between everything.
right. So I would say at least 4 times.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's dedication, man. And I'm so everybody has their thing that gives them joy, and I'm not here to criticize that. I'm just saying I would not fucking do that if my life
Right.
depended on it. Like I am
Right.
not that accurate.
Yeah,
No.
I've tried. Well, like in my video, if you watched my video, I say this is fussy cutting. Okay, well, loosely fussy cutting because I'm not being so specific about it.
Yeah.
I've tried the light box thing and doing it really specific, And right, it's after a while I'm like, I just want to make the thing. I don't like. I'm
right?
tired of
Or
worrying about this.
you do the mirror kaleidoscope thing
Yeah,
and just kind of
yeah,
finding that. And like I've seen, I get it. I could probably do that, but for me, like most of the time, I'm buying a fat quarter bundle if I'm buying a collection because like buying a
right,
half yard or a full yard is not in my budget. So I
right.
only have so many repeats. So most of
Yep,
the time, like the Dear Jane up there is all English paper piecing. It's the Dear Jane EEP, and that one's Tula Pink. And that one, I'm actually spending the time to really fussy cut, like really
yeah,
take my time and be very accurate. But they're tiny, tiny pieces. It's
yeah.
really easy to do a repeat of a very small section. I can probably get 6 or 8 of the same repeat that way,
Right,
right?
right.
Versus
And when
like,
we're using a 2-inch hexagon or
I'll
diamond,
be
yeah,
lucky
you
if I
only
get
have.
4, right?
Yep. When I cut my, because I made the first one and sent it out, and this was the second one. Do you see how low my?
Yeah. Well, not
So because
only
I
is your planter low, but then the other piece, your diamond, is also low too. So it kind of goes
yeah,
hand in hand, right?
yeah, I was just trying to shift things around where I could still keep. Yeah, so now I have a bunch of little scraps left because I pretty much used up all those
Well,
fabrics.
you
But
can do my filler block then, because I honestly I've been saving all of my scraps in a
nice
little baggie. So then I'll pull them out, and it was like perfect because like they're just little leaves.
little pieces,
Yeah.
nice.
So it really fit,
I
and
love
a
your
lot of
color
them
block.
was like cuts from from my butterfly. So all the scraps from my butterfly, and then from the English paper piecing too, because I did fussy cut nearly all of them. I feel like the little kaleidoscopic one was the hardest one because of how it rotates on its axis. It was
Right?
really hard to get that one to repeat in a way that I was happy with.
Yeah, I like the flowers in the middle. Well, flowers, whatever that design is, I like it in the middle. It looks good.
Yeah, the cathedral window. That's what it
Yeah,
reminds me of. Yeah.
yeah. A lot of that reminds me of shadows when we went to Ireland and we went through all the castles and the sun would shine through the windows that are no longer there, but
Yeah.
the frame is still there, and where it would the shadows would lay on the castle floor. A lot of it reminds me of that. So I don't know, but I need
That
to find her story about it and read more into that for my castle garden again
it
because it's
sounds
kind of
mystical, really.
yeah.
Like you're
It kind of
expecting Avalon level of like mist coming through, and
that'd be cool. Well, I mean, shoot, that happens a lot in Ireland. Of course, like I said, I haven't traveled many other places, so I have no other point of
we
reference.
got to do a quilting retreat to Scotland. I'm just
I
putting
am
it out
so
there.
in. I am
Yeah,
so in.
yeah. Well, we'll go in the spring or fall, whenever Adele says is the best time, right? We'll
Right.
go. But
Yeah.
like, wouldn't that be so fun? I
That
would
would be a
love that.
blast.
Yeah, we could host the Sprout quilting retreat.
You know what? People probably be in for it. Let's do
They
it.
probably people go on those quilting cruises all the time, and
I know.
they go on their quilting retreats and everything. Yeah, we'd be in the UK, but it'd still be fun.
Yep. Well, hey,
Scotland is fantastic. I'll come along for the ride. Just get it back to Scotland. Shikamaru, if you're coming along for the ride, then you better be sewing, okay? I am not having you tag along just so you can go smoochy with your girlfriend, okay?
she can make a Bart. That counts as one sewing project, and it's very small, so you're
Okay.
good.
All right, I'll count that. I'll count it. His girlfriend actually does know how to sew, so chances are she would probably come to the retreat and just leave him high and dry.
Oh,
That would be fun. I'm so glad that we've been able to manage going to these conventions and meeting in person, because it's been
yeah.
really nice to be able to connect through Discord and build, our friendships and everything. But there's just something to being in person.
Yep, I agree. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, and
And
TJ's
hanging out.
yelling at Oshemi because Oshemi's not planning on coming this year. And she's already yelling at him because, he's not going to be there to share her dessert.
Oh,
Yeah, it's really cute.
that's funny. And she will yell at you too. So
She
sorry.
will. Well, and Oshemi told me the other night, because he's been doing the sound checks for everybody before we go live, because he's got a better ear than I do, so it's easier to. Oh, TJ's still here. Yeah, she's agreeing with you. But uh, hey Scotty, good to see you. Thank you for the follow earlier. I appreciate it. But Oshemi told me early, I think it was yesterday or something. He's like, yeah, I might have to go because TJ scares me and I don't want her mad at me.
There you go.
And I'm like, how does TJ scare you? Well, because she's got those boss vibes. I'm like, I mean, yeah, she does, but she loves you. And he's like, yeah, but you don't want to cross the boss vibe. I'm like, okay, all right. That
I
just
can
means you
actually
gotta
go with
come.
that.
You gotta
So I
come.
can go with it.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. But I'm looking forward to going to H&H and seeing. You better bring me a pattern. I want to hold it in my hand, and I'm gonna keep you to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Deal.
But we are hitting that 2 hour mark, so we are gonna wrap up for the night. Oh, TJ says, "Oh, I need my VIP security." I suppose if you want to hire Oshemi as your security, then maybe he could actually afford to go. Oh
Sounds
boy,
like a plan. That sounds like a good plan.
I think it's a great plan. I think that would be fantastic. But we are gonna wrap up, and I do, Susan. This is the part where we get to sell out anything you're working on, anything you're doing. So go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you and all the things you've got coming up.
Okay, so you can find right now the Sprout block on studio708.com. We've had a little issues with our website, so I think she's got it all fixed now
Okay.
because yeah, I threw in a whole quilt pattern which threw it all for a loop. But anyhow, I think we've got it all figured out right now. But if you're having trouble getting that, you can always email me at susan@studio708.com and we'll get it straightened out somehow.
Oh,
But coming up will be the full size castle garden, and then the market tote is right behind that.
that'll be exciting.
And then classes starting hopefully in March. I say hopefully, taking that out of vocabulary. Classes in March, starting
Classes
in March.
in March. They're happening. There's no might
In
about
March,
it.
right. And then obviously in April, I will have a shirt pattern available.
You will have a blouse
Yes,
pattern available. I will use my
yes,
Jedi mind trips, and if
yes.
not, I'll kick your butt. I mean, I
Well,
can get my foot high enough. Okay, I may be fat, but I can get it up.
you're better than me because I can't do that part. So
Really?
I'll have to punch you. But yeah, there
I
you
got the
go.
boobas. They bounce off. Okay, I've got my self defense here. Okay.
I don't have those either. So there you go.
But you also have Quilt 2024. You're one of the instructors.
Right.
I'm putting
Yeah.
that link in the chat as well so people can
Thank
go
you.
and VIP, all the good stuff and see your
It,
class.
it
Yeah.
started today, and the if you don't have it's free, so you can always join.
Yeah.
Always until it's over, obviously, but you can join. But the classes are only available for 24 hours, and then they go off. If you have the VIP, you can watch them for a year.
And how much is the VIP?
It's only like $49.
Is it? Okay. I thought it was
Well,
69 because it wasn't pre-register.
price went up. Sorry, I forgot about that. Yeah. So
But it's worth it because it's a lot of content. There's a lot. How many teachers are at Quilt 24?
they say 30 plus. So I'm not sure exactly how many there
That's
are,
a
but
lot
those
of content.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
there is not enough to consume in 24. Like that's too
No, it's
much.
not. And if
So
you look at the amount of times for everybody's classes, like you would just be doing that all day. And then what are you going to remember?
what are you gonna
That's what
remember? And like for me, I always take notes at these kinds of things. So it takes me twice to 3 times as long to do it, even when I do like 2 times speed listening to the recordings. So it's just easier to get the VIP. It's not like a huge investment. It's a little chunk change. It's like a month worth of frappuccinos that I'm just gonna do and
there
not.
you go.
There you go. So
Okay.
hit that link. Go sign up for your VIP. Um, and do that. And then yeah. Thank you so much for coming onto the stream. I really super appreciate it. We always love having you. And, H&H is coming up. They'll have the content creator booth again, and I'm not sure how much time I'm gonna get this year because there's more known about it and people know about it and they're gonna be signing up. But I'm gonna try and see how many people I can come and maybe you want to come sit and actually talk about your pattern that you just launched of your Blossom shirt.
I'll have something to talk about this year. Nice.
There you go.
There you go.
Well,
So
thank you
I
again.
don't know. I don't see your chat, so I don't know who all's watching. But if people have questions about Illustrator or do want to know about that, I would love to hear those questions. I would love to have emails from you guys about that if you're
Yeah.
interested.
And if you guys are watching the VOD or you're watching this VOD on YouTube, if you have those questions, even if we're not live, put them in the chat, put them into the comments. I can pass those along to Susan because I don't mind DMing her at like 2 o'clock in the morning through Discord and giving her your questions. And then it'll
And I
have a
don't mind.
reason for you to come back, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, it's been fun, Sandrasa. Thank you so much. I
Well, thank you.
appreciate it. You always host a great show.
I just like to bullshit and cuss a lot. That's all I do.
You didn't cuss too much tonight, I have to admit.
I gotta get a lot of fucks in them before we go, huh? All right. Well, thank you so much,
Yeah.
Susan, and I'll talk to you very soon.
Okay.
And so that's stream tonight, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for all the new follows and the new subscriptions and all your questions tonight. This series for the beginning of the year for the Sprout Quilt Challenge, we've been having interviews every stream so far, and it's been fantastic. You guys are coming out in droves and I really appreciate it. You guys are the best, right? The Quilty crew is the best crew. So I really appreciate you guys coming out. I'm going to do one more plug for HelloFresh because we are a HelloFresh partner for the month. So if you are interested in not having to go out in negative 40 degrees Celsius like Purple Peony Poppy, I can't imagine living in that. Like, forget that, negative 40 Fahrenheit. If you don't want to go out, if you're too busy quilting or running around chasing after kids like I am, HelloFresh, perfect, arrives on your doorstep. It's good food. The kids are going to like it. It's quick. Some of the meals only take like 15 minutes. Some take 30. Depends on what you want. Go hit it up. Use my code. Use my link. Whatever you want to do, go hit it. And that'll be it for me tonight, guys. I really super appreciate it. And I will catch you guys Friday, actually. We're going to be catching up on doing our year stream quilt. And so I think we've settled on the EVs, the seasonal EV quilt. I haven't decided whether we're doing raw edge applique or turn needle. We'll talk about that Friday. Until then, guys, I love y'all. Quilty crew, best crew. And I will see y'all next time.